to Cozyy Joe show. Today we are going to do the Love Knot Granny Square, and I'm going to use size G hook. I love using size G as kind of a medium size, and it's perfect for worsted weight yarn, but you can use whichever size hook you want to use. I have chained 20, and now I'm going to start with my love stitch, and I'm going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook, now I'm going to draw up a loop about 1 inch long. You yarn over, pull through the loop. Now you see how I've kept that separated? That's the back loop that was created. You're going to go back into there, pull up a loop, and complete a single crochet. See? Then you pull up another loop, and you do the same thing. Yarn over, pull through, keep holding that little loop, and then you're going to pull up a loop in there and complete a single. So those are 2 love knots. See how that is? And they don't, try to get them as evenly height as you can, but if not, don't worry about it. It doesn't have to be exact. Now we're going to skip 3 chains, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to single crochet in that starting chain. Just like that. So now we have our love knot anchored, and now you just start the same thing over. You pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through, hold that loop on, and then pull up a yarn through that, pull up a loop through that back yarn, complete a single. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through, but hold on to that back loop, put your hook back in there, and complete a single. Easy peasy. Okay, come back down here, skip 3 chains, and you're going to single crochet in the 4th chain from your previous single. And that's what you're going to do all the way across. I'll continue on with you so you can kind of get a feel for how that looks. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through, hold on to that back loop. Well, if I can get untangled. There you go. Go back in, pull up a loop, single. All right, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through, pull up a loop through the back loop, and then complete your single. Just like that. Single crochet in the 4th chain. All right, I'm going to continue that all the way across, and then I'll come back and show you row 2. So I've come to the end of that row, and now we have to do a turning chain. And for the love stitch, the turning chain is just 3 love stitches. So you just pull that up and do 3 of those stitches. Now, if I keep going back and forth between love knot, love stitch, this stitch has several names. Love knot being one of them, love stitch, King Solomon's knot, Solomon's knot, so it's got a bunch of different names. So I may use any one of those at any time. I've always called it a King Solomon's knot, but I'm trying to call it a love knot just to make it a little easier. Okay, so that's our turning chain. So we turn our work. There's a tail yarn in the way here, as always. The way you proceed across this row is you're going to single crochet in each one of those love knots across. So we're going to go right here into the first one, just with a single, and go right into the next one with a single. So you do it, now you do a love stitch. We're going to do 2 love knots. You make them in pairs. All right, so there's that, and then we single crochet into the top of the next one from row 1. All right, pull up a loop. So this row is a combination of love knot and single crochet. I keep hanging up on this glitter that's worked into this yarn. All right, and that's what you do all the way across. So we made it to the end of that row. Now we're going to do 3 knot stitches to turn. And we're just going to repeat that last row until we have the length that we want. You can make this as wide as you would like, and all you have to do is the chain stitch at the bottom is just a multiple of 4 plus 2. So if you wanted, you could do 20 chains plus 2 would be 22, and that's what your base would be. Okay, so now I flip it, and I'm going to find my first knot stitch on that last row, and I'm going to do those single crochets across there. There's 2 singles. Just like that, and then I'm going to do 2 love knots. Okay, it's just a repeat of the previous row. Then I find my next love knot and I do 2 singles. So that's what I have ended with. Let me get me a pointer here. So I ended up doing, let's see here, we have 1, see how I can count these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about roughly 8 rows. You want it about 5 inches tall. And now I'm going to fasten off, and now we're going to work a round of chains and single crochet all the way around, and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so I'm going to join the same color down here on this corner, and I want to make sure that the right side is facing. And the way you know that is you see the chains here. The chains will look like a little braid going across the bottom. And we're going to join our yarn right down there because we're going to go all the way around. We've already got this side done with chain. Now we're going to do that. So I'm going to go in right here in the side of that single crochet that we started with. I'm going to pull up a loop. I'm going to single crochet in the same space. And that anchors your tail yarn. Sometimes I pull it through that loop if I know it's not going to be a good anchor there, but if I'm doing a stitch, I know that's going to be okay. So I've turned it sideways here so I can work. I have chained 3, and now here's the side of a knot stitch. And we're just going to do the same thing. We're just going to single crochet just like we're completing a round of knot stitch, only instead of a knot stitch we're doing chain 3s. And make sure you don't have your little stitch twisted there. Alright, now let's chain 3. Let's find the next knot stitch, and there it is. And these chains that we're working are giving us a base for our single crochets. 1, 2, 3. Find the next one. And that brings us to the corner. Okay, so we have a side completed. I'm going to chain 3 for the corner, and then I'm going to start with single crochets down that last row we just completed. We do the 2 single in the top of the knot stitch just like that, and now we're going to chain 3 and go over to the next one. And that's what you're going to do all the way around. You just put the 2 singles in the knot stitch and then chain 3 between them. And it's squaring it up. All right, and I'm going to complete that all the way around. That's what I have at the end of round 9. And you should have 1, 2, 3, 4 chain 3 loops on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across the top. Yep. All right. So now I'm going to fasten that off, and I'm going to join a contrast color. And you should have a nice squared swatch. So still with the right side facing, I'm going to join my contrast color in the same single crochet that we started with on the last round. This is round 10, by the way. Somebody's banging on something outside, so apologies. All right, and now we're going to do 3 single in this chain 3 space. I'm just working in my tail yarn as I go. I'm going to put a single crochet in each of the next 2 single crochet. This round just kind of evens it up and makes it look crisp. Okay, so we're going to do 3 single in the next chain 3 space. One single in each of the next 2 single. And that's what you're going to do all the way around. I'm trying to get to this corner to see how I want to do that. I'm making this up as I go, by the way. I like to try to film, make, and write all at the same time, so I'm not wasting yarn and having to do it twice. And it takes a little bit longer to do it that way, but I'm knocking out 3 birds with 1 stone. All right, so we come to this corner chain 3, and we're going to do 1, 2, 3. I want to do 5 in the corner. So put 5 single in that corner chain 3. It needs to be an odd number so that there'll be a middle stitch so that we can come back and do an actual corner. Let's see how that looks. Yep, so that's what you're going to do all the way around. So that's what I have at the end of round 10. You should have roughly about 16 stitches, not counting the corners. I did have to, down here on this corner, it got kind of muddled, so there wasn't a chain 3 space, and I just had to put spread 5 double crochet around this corner. So that's it. As long as it's good and squared off, your stitches may not match how many stitches I've got. As long as it's squared off, that's fine. This is one of those figure it out as you go patterns, I guess you could say. So I'm starting another round of single crochet. The reason I want to do that because I want this line right here. So what you're going to do, you're going to chain 1 in the spot where you ended, single crochet in the same spot, and then working in the back loops only. So you have there's the front loop, here's the back loop. Front, back. You're working in that back loop. And it's going to cause this ridge across here. I like that. I wanted to give it some definition. So that's what I'm going to do all the way around. And then when we get to the middle stitch of that 5 single crochet in the corner, we're going to do 3 single crochet to turn the corner. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so I have my 5 single crochet. I'm going to crochet into the first 2, just 1 single, and then when I get to the 3rd stitch, I'm going to put 3 single in there in order to turn that corner. Just like that, and then you just continue working in single crochets until you get to that middle stitch on the corner and do 3 single. So see this beautiful ridge right here? It just gives it a lot of definition, and that's what I was after. And that's what we end with. I'm very happy with how that turned out. And you're just going to fasten off, and you'll work that in underneath. Now what I will tell you about this is one of those patterns that, because of the nature of the love knot, you're going to have to play with spreading out your single crochet evenly when you're doing that round in order for it to square up. So you'll just have to play with it with the single crochet around there, and that's just because of how the love knot works up. But that's what you call the Love Me Not Granny.